I'm going to start this review off with a hot take. A lot of people in the Friday the 13th world love this movie. It is a lot of people's favorite Friday the 13th. I wouldn't even say it's in my top 3.
Kills. But now, Jason's reign of terror is over. Friday the 13th, the final chapter.
Released in 1984, we are talking Friday the 13th, part 4. Wait, there is no part 4 in the title. We're talking Friday the 13th, the final chapter, which there was obviously 12 Jason movies. So that tells you how much this was the last Friday the 13th. Okay, so to be all seriousness, I have a very guilty pleasure fun time with this series. And obviously, like I said in my opening, this is not one of my top 3 Friday the 13th movies. It isn't. There's others I do prefer over it. My favorite Friday the 13th movie, no lie, is the 2009 remake. I easily think that's the best one, 100%. With this one, I would say it's in the top 5. So don't worry, I did say in the beginning, making it sound like, oh, it's not in the top 3. It's in the top 5. This is one of the better ones for sure. And this movie obviously has a really fun cast. I think when you go and watch this movie, it's crazy to think how much a young Crispin Glover is in this movie 1 year before Back to the Future, so his life almost changed. And then obviously you got Corey Feldman as our probably main star of the movie, you could really say. I think the best thing about this movie, truly, is having a little kid be the main character of the movie. He obviously he's not the main character, but he's the fan favorite. He's Tommy Jarvis, obviously. He gets a trilogy in the Friday movies. That's rare, obviously. So for him to start off with Corey Feldman, who was obviously hot shit in the 80s, this movie definitely shows that, having a kid forefront in, a scary environment just adds to the fun factor. I mean, there's tons of scary movies out there with, kids being the forefront, and it always just makes the story better. I think that's a big reason why this one's a lot of people's favorites. It just feels like a story. Yes, bunch of teenagers want to have sex, go into this cabin next to Tommy Jarvis's house, and that's the core plot. But when you have this family next door who's got this guy walking the woods looking for his sister, who is the girl from part 2, which I did not know was a connection at all. But when you watch this movie, it's just cool to see a family's perspective of what's going on with all the high school, college people, whatever, having sex, doing drugs. That's all they're there for. I mean, seriously, you look at these characters, they're not really interesting. They're there to be naked and boobs. That is it. That is all they are there for. And then the kills, which thank goodness they got Tom Savini, which I got to see and shake his hand a couple weeks ago. And I was just honestly flabbergasted. I said to him, sir, your name made horror better. I said something along the lines of that. I kind of blacked out. I can't lie. I was it's fucking Tom Savini, man. But looking at his artistry in this movie, the kills are just so much better in this movie. My favorite kill actually is the shower one where Jason busts in and he puts his hand on the guy's face and he just squishes him. He just pushes his face in, the crunch noises. It's so good. And speaking of Jason, I think this is probably my second favorite Jason performance. And I know a lot of people probably wouldn't say that, but Ted White as Jason in this movie, he's scary in this movie. I don't know. Maybe it's how he was shot. The direction is pretty good for a Friday movie. He's in the shadows a lot. His kills are just really cool and fun and creative. They're bloody. But, it just feels so, dark. And, him running, chasing Trish at the very end of the movie is just so cool to see. He's always walking the first 3 movies. And the movie doesn't follow the same formula of being on a camping ground with no kids. Seeing a kid with 2 houses next to each other and he's killing people and they gotta run over each other past his houses in the dark rain. It's a really fun third act, but it's added by Ted White's performance as Jason. He does a fantastic job in my opinion. He's probably my second favorite Jason. If I said my favorite, Oh man, I forget the actor's name, but the 2009 remake's pretty damn good. He's pretty good, but you might have to go with part 7 to 10. What's his name? Oh my gosh, why I can't remember his name right now. Either way, one of those are probably my number one. If not, they're 1 and 3, and then Ted White's my second favorite. But this movie also delivers some really just iconic settings. I love the two houses, like I said. It just feels so cool to have two different perspectives on the situation, and it adds to the acting when you have really nice direction in this movie. Unfortunately, I did read some up on this movie's behind the scenes. The director was an asshole, apparently. Like the scene where the girl gets killed in the water. She was 19 years old, and she's fully naked, and they'd have a close set, and like she had like hypothermia and crap like that. It's like, you can be a good director and not be an asshole. But besides all of that, this movie's fun. It's got a really nice pace to it. And if you watch this movie and never watch any Friday the 13th movie again, it ends on a level you're like, all right, Jason gets killed in this movie. I love his death. The mask, his face, hitting the axe, going down on his face. It's so good. Tom Savini, mwah. There's a reason why I shook your hand. I was like, you are the best. But yeah, this movie's awesome. It's very fun. It's very cool. It has some scare factor to it. Like, I enjoy this one. It's definitely a top 5, maybe even 4, but it's not one of my favorite Friday the 13th. Number 1 will be the 2009 remake, but this one deserves to be talked about as one of the best. I'm going to give Friday the 13th, the final chapter, a B+. I'm telling you though, everyone in this movie besides our family is there for boobs and sex. Even like the doctor in the very beginning of the movie when Jason's body is just sitting there dead, he's having sex with like the nurse. It's like everyone's there for sex. But again, it's Friday the 13th. It was the 80s. That's all slashers were. And if you guys enjoyed this movie review, come back tomorrow for more sequel reviews, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye everybody.